What is going on, y'all? Psych Perspectives, giofvcks here, and I just want to talk about a little bit of the self-care journey. Out here with Mercy, we doing our early morning. We already did our walk. We're taking a little break at the park, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's cold. You know, it might not even be 40 degrees, but gotta get your morning, gotta get your activity, gotta get your exercise in. But self-care, let's talk about it. So on this self-care journey, I want to give an update. So I have not had sex in 2 weeks. Nothing major, not a big deal. It's only 14 days. But for me, it's dope. Because let's just be honest, I've been in therapy, counseling, and through my therapy and counseling, I'm healing and breaking a lot of generational curses and cycles, working on my self-esteem, my self-worth, healthy boundaries, speaking up for myself, being assertive. I'm working on a lot of things that ultimately I should have learned and should have been taught when I was a child. But again, when you grow up in dysfunctional, narcissistic, toxic, abusive households where the parental figures, they don't have their own lives in order. So how in the hell are they going to be able to properly raise a child? And again, a lot of the issues that a lot of us are dealing with are directly related to how we were brought up and raised in the environments that we lived in. So what I'm learning through my self-care journey and my healing journey is a lot of adulthood is unlearning toxicity that you were taught as a child. A lot of the things that we normalized and thought was okay is not. It's not. It's dysfunctional, it's abusive, it's toxic, it's narcissistic. It's not healthy at all. So that's something that I've been learning. And one of the things that I've been learning through therapy and counseling is I have personally been using sex as a coping mechanism. So to give you a little background, I started having sex August 2019. I am a survivor of child molestation. I was molested when I was 8 years old for an entire year. My entire third grade year, 2000 to 2001, 21 years ago, was extremely abusive and volatile, 21 years ago. And like I said, when you're being molested by the next door neighbor, and this man was in his 40s, 50s, having sex with an 8-year-old, and was sexually attracted to an 8-year-old, and from my understanding was also potentially molesting, harming, and abusing other children in the neighborhood as well as his own family. So it was a lot going on, but here we are 2 decades later. I'm 28, so literally 20 years ago. So I didn't have sex. I stayed away from sex until I was 26, literally 2 months shy of turning 27, 2019, August 2019. And I had sex, consensual sex with a person who no longer is involved in my life. And what I've been doing ever since is essentially using sex as a coping mechanism, because a lot of times I'll have sex with a person, and I don't care about them. There's no connection, there's no feelings, and after I have my sex, it's more of an activity, and there's no connection, there's no feelings, and I'll have sex. Sometimes I'll get a nut or an orgasm, and then a lot of times I'm not really getting anything. It's more so about performance, and it's just something that I'm doing to fill the void, essentially. So again, a negative coping mechanism. And then after I'm done, I'm still empty and just okay, what was the purpose of this? What was the point? Especially if you're not even going to be getting an orgasm. Because let's be honest, if you're having sex with cis men, whether you're a gay man, a gay man, cis man, trans man, you're a woman, trans woman, cis woman, non-binary, you already know where I'm getting at. If you're dealing with cis men, sex tends to be very lackluster because we're talking about a population of people who can barely last 10 to 15 minutes. You know, y'all are in y'all 20s and 30s already on Viagra. So I'm just putting it for what it is. Like, you already having issues at prematurely. Like, y'all shouldn't be needing Viagra really until your 50s and 60s. And then even then, if you would take care of yourselves instead of sitting up doing all of the disastrous shit that a lot of cis men do, you would be able to last more than 10 to 15 minutes and would actually be able to get it up and keep it up. But that's a whole nother video. So here I am, 2 weeks, 14 days with no sex, and I honestly feel really good about it because I'm learning through therapy and counseling, like, what was the purpose of this? You're not even having quality sex. Like, out of all the times I've had sex since August of 2019, I can honestly say I've only had one consistent partner that was actually decent. Everybody else is very mediocre. Like I said, 10 to 15 minutes, and this is a waste of time. You know, I'm better off masturbating, getting a vibrator, you know, getting some sex toys than wasting my time over here. Okay? Not to mention that I don't care about the people that I'm engaging in this activity with. So it's also very selfish of me to be using somebody else essentially as a masturbation toy because I don't care about you. I don't want you. I don't need you. And that's just keeping it honest. And I feel like this is also a bigger issue with masculine people as a nutshell, in the sense that a lot of our issues, we need to be going to counseling and therapy instead of sitting up here just having sex and being in these very toxic codependent relationships. And I'm going to say it, cis men in particular, and as well as trans men, masculine people, we're very codependent because that's just it. You're constantly jumping from person to person. You're constantly using everybody instead of taking your ass to therapy or counseling and seeking help. So a lot of us need to be in therapy and counseling. Like, that's the gist of this video. And then also recognize that sex is not that fucking important. And then when you take sex, and I'm just being real, like, this is some complete transparency for me. When I take sex out of the equation when I am dealing with cis men, they don't have much to bring to the table. All they're bringing is 10 to 15 minutes, so even the sex that they're bringing isn't shit. So it's like, again, when you take sex out of the equation, a lot of these individuals aren't doing anything for you. They're not meeting your needs. They're not bringing anything you desire. They're not providing anything that you require. So why are you dealing with them? And that's literally what happened. Like, at the beginning of this month, I literally was like, I'm done with a lot of shit. Like, and therapy and counseling has been helping me. Like, come May, it'll be 2 years for me since I've been in therapy and counseling. And I've been doing the self-care journey for 2+ years. So we're going on 3 years of the self-care journey, going on 2 years of the counseling and therapy. And it's just, my life has been improving. I'm not even going to sit up and lie. Like, the quality of life has literally been improving for me. And this is why I'm like, I try to be transparent with my videos and just keep it a buck, keep it real, let you know how I'm feeling, what I'm going through, what I'm working on, you know. And it's been helping me, and hopefully these videos can help other people realize counseling and therapy is beautiful. Getting help is okay and normal. You should get help, especially, and I'm just gonna say this too, you know, Lord willing, in October, you know, it's about to be April, so literally in 6 months, Lord willing, I will be 29, and it'll be the last year in my 30s, or in my 20s, and I'll be entering my 30s, third decade of life, Lord willing, universe willing, if I make it. And I'm just gonna say it, as you grow and mature, you should be changing. You should not be the same person you was at 25, at 20, at 15. You should be changing. You should be growing. You should be learning. You should be unlearning toxicity. There's a lot of things that you should be doing, you know, after a while. And I'm saying all of this to say, because a lot of us, you know, just keep it a buck. A lot of us we're not changing. We're not growing. We're not learning. And those types of people, I'm just gonna keep it real. You should do yourself a favor and stay away from them. Because those types of lackluster individuals, they're not going anywhere. They're not maturing, they're not growing. Now, if you wanna stay the same and you're content with where you're at, you do that. But don't expect other people to be content with your lackluster shit. Let's just put it like that, right? So I don't want to be dealing with people that, you know, you're still childish and immature. You're still using sex as a coping mechanism. You're still in the closet and homophobic. You're still insecure and talking shit behind people's back. You still think sarcasm makes you witty. Like, we're adults. You still don't know how to communicate how you feel. You don't show emotion, etc. These types of traits would have been cool 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you know, when I was, 19, when I was 15, 16, not today. Not today. Today, it's immature, it's toxic, it's dysfunctional, and I don't want to be a part of it. And I'm working on myself daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, consistently, holding myself accountable. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I make mistakes? Hell yes. I'm not perfect. Nobody is, right? I make mistakes all the time. I'm constantly bumping my head, running into obstacles, back into, going to my counseling sessions, my therapy sessions, doing the self-work, and then holding myself accountable. I make mistakes, I take a break, I take a breather, and I get back up and I get right back on the road, right? So that's that. But yeah, this stuff is work. It's work. So if you're one of those people that think that you're just gonna magically heal overnight, oh, I did it for 30 days, this is a lifestyle change. This is a lifelong process. This is a lifelong journey. So yeah, I just wanted to say that real quick. And yeah, it's going on 12 minutes. We're about to head back. But yeah, so I'm taking a break from sex. Who knows? I might go back to it, because it is a fun activity when it's done correctly, consented, with people that actually have the stamina and actually know how to have sex. And, isn't given up in 10 minutes. It's actually a pretty good opportunity. It's a good activity when it's done correct. But I'm just learning for me, like, I don't care about the people I'm with. And I don't want to be hurting and using other people, so I just like to stay to myself, to be completely honest. And also, during this self-care journey, I'm also learning that I like to be alone. Like, I require alone time. Like, a good 50 to 70% of the time, I don't want to be bothered with people and their shit. I'm just being real. This is why I like to go out in nature and walk and run and work out and stretch and meditate and read and listen to music and take my baby, come here, and take my baby Mercy. I like to do stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I do interact with human beings, and I have some friends and some really meaningful relationships with people, but I just know, like, during this whole self-care journey, I don't care to be around people all the time, because quite frankly, you're draining as fuck, and I don't want my energy being screwed up because I'm around people who are off on their own energy. Not to mention that humans constantly project their problems and issues onto other people. So it's so important to recognize that and realize, like, hey, I need a break from you. I need to charge. I need to recoup. So that's, some things that I've also have been noticing on my self-care journey. But yeah, going on 14 minutes. It's time to head on back to where we're going. Immerse. Come on. But yeah, so we're about to head on back, but I just had to make this video real quick. And I'm just super, I'm just transparent about it, and I'll have more videos to come. But yeah, self-care, sending y'all love and peace, sending y'all positivity and good energy, and I'm out.